미스터 게린라이프는 그 스카티 카메론과 함께 세계 그 퍼팅계의 그 양대 산맥으로 꼽히는 퍼팅장입니다. 이 한국을 방문해가지고 이 이분놀 퍼터에 대한 그런 설명과 함께 대리점 뭐 업주들이라든지 한국의 이제 저널리스트라든지 그런 그 만남을 하고 있고요. 오랜 관계를 갖고 있고 그 이제 한국에 이번에 초청 행사까지 이렇게 주도적으로 하고 계신데 그 많은 분들이 그 이제 게린라이프라는 이런 퍼팅 명의는 어떻게 해서 탄생하게 됐나, 어떻게 그 출발하게 되었나 이런 거에 그 관심을 많이 가지시고 계실 것 같은데요. 우리 그 게리는 어떤 식으로 이렇게 퍼팅 디자이너의 길로 들어서게 되셨는지?
I kind of did it by accident. I was helping David Ledbetter years ago in the early 90s with a putting training device with David Ledbetter. So I met a lot of players on the PGA Tour. Back then, it was Nick Faldo, Nick Price. There was a whole group of really top players that were under David Ledbetter. And I got out there and I in the process of working with them on the putting, I was looking at their putters and I was looking at in particular, the mallet was very popular. Nick Price, for example, used the zebra mallet. And so when I came back from this being out on tour with David and getting to know, developing this putting trainer, I also had an idea about a putter, of a mallet putter. And so what I did is I took a mallet head, like the old zebra, which had the top dome and the lines, and I scooped it out. And I put a cavity in the back of the mallet. No technology on the face at the time, just a mallet with a cavity in the back. You have one right here?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So this is a modern version of a cavity with a mallet. So this would be the cavity. So I invented a mallet putter with a cavity in it, the first one. And that was years ago in the early 90s. And so, but my whole philosophy was to make it so you could pick the ball up. But as it turned out, that created bottom weighting and heel toe weighting. And because of that, it was more stable and easier to use. So that was the beginning of it. Then after that, it made me realize that it was creating, that bottom weight created lift. So I put grooves on the face, my straight grooves from Rife years ago. And so the combination of the grooves and the lift, I could reduce the loft and the ball rolled quicker. That was the beginning. Yeah. You asked me about my how I got into putting. That's how I got into it. I haven't been able to get out of it since.
그 퍼터 디자이너가 되기 전에는 무슨 일들을 하셨었나요? 그리고 그거 시작한 나이대가 대충 언제 정도에 시작?
Okay, so let me do a little math. It was in my late 30s. I used to be at a big advertising agency in Chicago. I was a creative director and art director, writer. And so I came out of the marketing world and I moved to Florida one very cold Chicago day in February. And I moved to Chicago, I moved to Winter Park, Florida to get warm and to start my own advertising company. And that's when I was there, that's when I met Ledbetter, that's right before all that started. I was at a big company in Chicago and as a creative person, I was involved in writing and art direction and design. So I was basically a designer, not graphic design, but packaging and product design, and did TV commercials and knew the whole creative part of the business. And I left that business to go to Orlando, which is Winter Park, when it was very cold one year in Chicago, and started my own design firm and did work for Disney. But when I was down there, that's when I met David Ledbetter, and that's when I did the putting trainer.